Hi everyone, it's David again. I'd like to show you something new which will be coming to the store very soon. If you're like me, you've probably spent a lot of time figuring out how to light your bench or your working space. Lots of different options, of course. Angle point lamps, LEDs. My personal preference is a magnifier with some built-in LEDs, which I think you may have seen on one of the videos on my YouTube channel, which shows you a little bit of a walk around of my workshop. Now, you've probably already seen this around. It's been on the internet for a while, and it's a light from Green Stuff. Some of you may already buy lots of their products. I certainly do, but they've also innovated with a light, but a light with an interesting difference. So what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to unpack it because it needs to be assembled. So you can see how it all goes together and what it's kind of about. I've had a look at it over the last week or so. I managed to get hold of one about a week ago, and it could be a little bit of a game changer, particularly if you are a miniatures painter, and also if anyone out there is also making videos of their work, how you paint your miniatures or paint your armor or aero, so far, wherever it is. If you're making videos, this light could be an interesting addition. It could even be a game changer for you if you've been having issues with lighting. So it's from Green Stuff, as I say, and this is it. They call it the hobby LED lamp, which is interesting, and that's what really attracted me to it. It's not a small piece of kit. I would say that straight off the bat. That you will need some space to be able to operate this effectively. Because the back does tell us that from the base to the base, because it sits on two pillars, is 63 centimeters, which is quite large, but it has to be that big for the arch, and you'll see why that's important when I actually unpack this and get it actually working. Okay, so let's actually unpack this, and I can sort of show you all of the different components. Interestingly, the inside of the actual sort of slip box which goes on the back is the actual construction instructions, which kind of shows you how to put this thing together. So I'll just put those to one side, so I can refer to those as I need to. The rest of the components come in this white box. So let's have a look at what we've actually got in the box. So as I said, this light sits on two pillars, which are these things, and they're chunky. They're heavy enough. My concern when I sort of read about this initially was that it'd be too flimsy, that it'd be very easy to knock over, or it just wouldn't have the construction. But that's a heavy piece of plastic there, and it's also hollow. So if you did feel you wanted to weight this even further, you could certainly put some weights into the bottom of these support pillars very easily. So that's what the actual hobby arch, or the hobby light arch, whatever they call it, actually sits on. Now there's several components which it actually consists of. There's the obligatory power brick, which is here. You may use an adapter, which obviously this came from Europe, but you may actually need to adapt this to whichever country you're in. Obviously, in the UK, I'll be supplying an adapter for this, so you can plug that straight into the mains. So put that to one side. Now, I guess the actual interesting stuff are these things. Now, these are how the arch actually fits together. The LED strip goes inside here, and it's actually secured with some plastic clips. But that's the actual sort of construction of the actual arch itself, and there are several of these. So let's just get those all out of the box, so we can then have a good look at how this actually all goes together. Right, so in this one should be the actual LED strip. In fact, I'll move that box out of the way so we can have a bit more space. So in this one is the on-off, and also the actual adapter itself. What I didn't say was that there's also, interestingly, a light adapter. This thing can move, can actually dim the light, so you can decide how bright or how dim you actually want the LEDs to be, which I think is an interesting innovation, because often light is either on or off, isn't it? Sometimes you can adjust that. My magnifier does allow a level of adjustment, but that's interesting that you can actually move this, and I'm going to be interested to see how bright and also how I guess how dim you can actually make these LEDs. There's also some extra clips. There's also some foam pads, which obviously go on the bottom of these things, so it doesn't scratch your bench, or it gives you a little bit of extra support. And of course, there's the actual LED strip itself. Now, you may be familiar with these. You may have already installed these in various places. You see these in lighting for kitchen units. You may have even put some of these in your workspace itself to give you some light effects. Often you can change the colour of these with a remote control. You may have seen those. They're available everywhere. But they've used that technology in a strip, which can then be inserted into the actual arch itself. And the last thing are these things, which actually secure the LED to the actual arch itself, which should make the whole construction very rigid and also extremely safe to use, because the LEDs do get very hot, which is interesting that they put some grills on the back of these to dissipate the heat. So that's an interesting addition as well. Now, if I go and refer to my instructions, which came with the box, basically it's as simple as bolting these things together. I think it's literally that. It is put these things together until you have completed your arch. So all of these fit together like that, and you basically keep going until you've run out of components, and that gives you the actual arch itself. So if I continue to put this together, as you can probably see, I'm now massively off camera, trying to actually put this thing together. But let me just put the last section in. Okay, right. So that is the actual arch itself, and that's quite large. I mean, that's much larger than I was actually anticipating. In fact, what I will do is I'm just going to move my camera back a little bit, so you guys can actually see more of this in the shot. Okay, everyone. So I've moved the camera back, so you get more of a feel for how large this actually is. It's quite difficult to see, even if you go to the Griswold website, also the images. But the scale is very, very difficult to see how big this is. So if I kind of pick this up, you get a kind of feel for how large this is. It's going to be a very large arch on your bench, which I call kind of the idea. So you can actually fit the LEDs, and you get some use out of that. Now, what I'm going to do is just move this around, so I get as much of this in as possible. Then I can show you how the LEDs actually then fit inside the actual arch. Hi everyone. So I've moved the camera back because I'm having problems actually getting this into shot. because of the size of the thing. I think if I kind of just show you in my hand, ring across the actual arch itself, you can kind of get a feel for how big this actually is. It's you know, it's not a small piece of kit, absolutely not. If I put that at an angle on my workbench, you can kind of get a feel for how large this is. And what I would say is I've got an A2 on a A2 cutting mat on my workbench, and this more than spans the A2 easily. It's that kind of size. Gives you an idea of how big this actually is. So that's actually with the feet on, and what I'm going to do is I'll take this off so I can put the LED strip in, and this literally just pulls out of the base section, and I'll do the same on this end as well. There it goes. Okay, so let me just move these all the bits and pieces out of the way. Okay, so the LEDs, as I said, come in a solid self-adhesive strip, which are in this bag. So, as I said, if you're familiar with this kind of technology before, you'll know what this is. This is literally just a row of LEDs with a plug on it to connect to the post plug. Now, I need to refer back to the instructions a second, because this has to go in a specific place. Okay, so these LEDs, okay, it's got a good 3M sticky on the back. What you do is you actually insert the LEDs from the third component in the arch. So it starts here. So let me see if I can get the sticky back off the arch from there. Also, I would say pay attention to where you want the power. Obviously, this power cable can be left or right, depending on if you swap it around. So it depends on where you've actually got power to run the socket to, because it's obviously got a power supply. So let me just unstick some of this. Okay, so what you do is you start from the 3, and this basically sticks into the center of the arch. If you can see me doing that. So you spend a bit of time to get it to as central as you possibly can. So I think spending a bit of time getting that right will pay dividends later, because the light will be even. I think that's the whole sort of ball game with this. So just make sure it's not going to come away. If you're familiar with 3M sticky products, they do the trick absolutely fine. So I'm just going to continue to put the LEDs into the arch. There we go. So that's the last component there. Okay, so that's the LEDs into the strip. That's how it fits actually into the inside of the arch. Okay, just make sure that's not going to move around, which is ideal. Okay, so the other thing you get in the box are these curved shape pieces. Now the idea with these is it covers where the wire is, because if you can look, that wire is quite loose. Well, they've already thought about that, and so the idea is you put this clip over the actual slot itself. Now you have to sort of separate the arch a little bit to get these in place, and obviously make sure the cable isn't actually caught. But once it's in place, I felt that's quite a nice finish. That really does look very good. And the idea is you put another one in. You can push these up as far as you'd like, but you put the rest of these in both sides of the actual arch itself. I won't do that now, but you can see how that sort of finishes off the inside of the arch. You'll probably need to move this way a little bit to get the other one in, and you do lose some of the LEDs, which is interesting. It does cover some of the light, So you might want to just have a look at that. But that is how that actually assembles together with the power cable. Right, so what we need to do now is put the feet on, and we'll give it a go. So I'll just put this flat on the bench for now. As I say, you have this power cable sticking out the end. The idea is you take the foot, thread the power cable through the foot, and then attach the actual foot itself to the base, which will only go around one way. Once that's actually in place, that's where you obviously plug the power supply. Now I'll just put the other foot on the other end, just so it's even. And what I can then do is I can actually stand this up and plug some power in. So let's try that as it looks like. I'll put the power cable that side, as I said, and that side. Make sure it's actually flat, which it is. So I just need to adjust that slightly just so it's there, and make sure the foot is high enough so these are flat against your bench. Yeah, because the arch itself, if I pick this foot up, that's how it actually attaches. So be careful with that. Now, what I would say is the power cable is now in place, so that's where that needs to be, and that is how the arch actually sits. If I just move that to an angle, there. As I say, it's a little bit too big to actually try and show you everything, but there you go. That's kind of what it looks like. Okay, so let's have a look at the actual power supply itself. As I said, it has this adjuster, so you can decide how bright the actual light is. So one end goes into the actual LED strips, if you're familiar with this. Let's just get the power supply unwrapped. As I said, this comes with a European two-pronged plug. But you will get an adapter with each one of these arches. So that goes into the end there to fix it. So that's the complete circuit for all the light. So if I take adapter plug itself and plug that in, and I'll just disappear under my desk for a second and plug this into some power. Okay, so I've just under my desk to plug the actual power in. So as I said, it has an adjuster. This is also the on-off switch, so let's just switch it on. Okay, so I'm hoping you can actually see that working. So that is the dimmer switch. Let me just tip it slightly so you can see the actual LED strips themselves in action. And then if I put that back on my desk, now that's on pretty low actually. Let's move that. If I turn this up, now that is maximum brightness. Now I would say that gives really good illumination. It's illuminating my workbench perfectly. Let me just turn that down slightly. Yeah, the adjustment is very smooth. So that's completely off. So that is the lowest setting. That's still pretty bright. If I go halfway and then go to full brightness, which I would guess most of us will probably be using a great deal, that'll kind of show you how bright the arch actually is. Now, it's probably a good idea to show you something under the arch. So let me just pull in maybe a small figure. So this figure is 1/35 scale, and if you were holding this with any kind of handle, you would have absolutely no problem seeing that. I'm looking at this the detail on here, and that's absolutely fine. The interesting thing is the arch actually gives you uniform illumination right across the model. You're not having issues with, I guess, more directional light, which is what most of us have with LEDs. I certainly have with mine. My magnifiers are overhead. That's an interesting concept, yeah, to putting the actual LEDs in an arch to give you complete contrast when you're actually working on your models. Excuse me. Now, can I pull my magnifier into this space? Now, what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to switch off the top light, which is because I'm using the arch is on, and my LEDs are on as well, which is what I tend to use for most of my model making across my bench. So let me just switch that off. Okay, now that's off, and there's still perfectly adequate levels of illumination there. I guess the point of that is, would you replace your existing light with this arch? Would you do that? Would you actually replace everything and just go with this arch? Well, that is at full brightness, and I think that's absolutely fine. I would have absolutely no problems with that at all. I think the illumination is absolutely fine for most types of model making. I would argue. I think the issue for me would maybe be if you want to do some kind of magnification. I think that might be an issue. So if I put that down, if I move this arch backwards a little bit and then bring my magnifier in, can I still use my magnifier with this arch? If I position my magnifier, there it is, and open the top, then if I pick up my figure, am I still getting illumination? And the answer is yes, I am. It's absolutely possible. In fact, if I move that back slightly, will I still be able to see my model and do detail painting on that? And yes, I can. The illumination is actually absolutely fine. I'm getting very few shadows, and because the arch is being illuminated from all directions, so I think that would be ideal for painters. So that's interesting. So if you do have a large magnifier, you can still use that. I'm still using my magnifier here, and I'm still got the arch, which is doing all the illumination. Can I do extra illumination? Well, if I switch my existing LED on, yes, you absolutely do get more illumination. If you were thinking about maybe replacing an existing light with built-in, which is what this is, let me switch it off again so that you can see the difference. I think you'd be absolutely fine, because I can see that at 4 times magnification without any problems at all. So that's very interesting. Let me just move that out of the way. So that's interesting. I say this is a 1/35 scale figure, and the arch does illuminate that without any problems. It doesn't get in the way. I can reach tools. It's an interesting concept, and I was very keen to try and have a look at that and get that into my store, because I think this can be very, very interesting for a lot of people. I think if you're a miniatures painter in particular, figures and busts, this could be very interesting indeed. If you're looking for something that you need some uniform illumination right across your model, so yeah, that's an interesting new product which will be coming to the store very soon. So the final part of this video, I want to talk about anyone that's a creator, anybody that is making YouTube videos. Maybe you're recording your figure painting or any kind of model painting, or whatever you do. Now, you've already probably got lots of lights, lots of cameras, lots of tripods. But of course, if you have this arch, you may find that the lighting that you actually get on your models is much more even. You might find that actually it's a perfect space for doing your recording. But the question then, of course, is how do you mount your cameras? Well, Green Stuff have already thought about that, and they've basically created this rig. You might be familiar. All of these components will be familiar to anyone that attaches phones or cameras to tripods. But the interesting part is this bracket. what Green Stuff have decided to do was basically give you some way of attaching a phone or a camera. You could easily put any kind of camera in there, and then attach this to the arch. And you do that with, again, something you'll be familiar with, you know, these attachments. So the actual attachment itself goes on to the arch like that, then through. Then there's a nut on the end, which I'm going to try and attach while I speak to you, which is around the back there. So that goes on there. Of course, you can have it orientated any way you want, and that attaches the camera rig to the arch, and you can move that anywhere you want to get different angles. It's entirely up to you. Again, this adjusts, that tightens up. You can move the camera into different orientations while you're working. So that's another addition, which again will be on the store. If you are makers, if you are video creators, you might want to have a look at that as an alternative, because you could also use multiples. You could have probably 3 on this arch without it getting in the way, and you might find that's better than maybe your current setup. I imagine you have a camera which sometimes gets in the way because you're trying to obviously to record while you're actually working. It's interesting that the arch takes the cameras, I guess, away from your line of sight. They can be either side or above, or all at the same time. It's entirely up to you how you set that up. But I thought that was an interesting innovation. That if you are a creator, you could use this setup to actually make your videos. Anyway, that's the hobby arch from Green Stuff with the attachment for phones and cameras. It should be on the store as you actually watch this. Again, come back to me with any questions, any queries that you might have. But if you do get one, do come back to me. It'll be very interesting to see how people use these and what their reaction is to the light quality. Does it get in the way of your model making? Can you reach your tools? And also the camera attachment. What do you guys think of that? Is it a useful thing for you when you're making your videos? So come back to me. You'll see my email address all over the website. There's various forms. So do have a look, and I say until next time. I'll see you soon.